Welcome to Matt's Mission's 4th annual recovery event and our very first virtual event. I'd like to thank Matt's Mission board members, our speakers, SNSN Radio, all our donors, our amazing community for their support, and a very special thanks to our partners, Griswold Pride and SCAD, for sponsoring this special event. COVID-19 has not stopped Matt's Mission from working towards our vision that individuals suffering from addiction will be treated as patients of the healthcare system, not as criminals. We continue to provide awareness of addiction as a disease while focusing on treatment, not punishment. Our monthly support groups are now online, and our support to individuals seeking treatment as well as those in the recovery process continues. We partnered with Griswold Pride and Perceptions programs to start the first Syringe Services program here in Jewett City. We are also proud to report that just before the pandemic, we moved into our very own office space at 70 Main Street in Jewett City. We partnered with Griswold Pride and Formerly Inc. in providing resources and basic supplies to individuals recently released from incarceration or treatment, and we were able to connect 23 people to treatment and detox during the past year. Social isolation has always been a huge component of substance use and substance-related deaths. Drug-related deaths increased by more than 20% in the first 5 months of this year. There is still an extraordinary amount of work to do, especially during COVID-19, and it's more important than ever that we find ways to connect with people in this new age of recovery. I am very grateful for all your support, as we could not do this work without you. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you from Matt's Mission.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Matt's Mission and a virtual event. A virtual event. But we're trying to do this as best we can to get you the information that Matt's Mission has been able to do over the last 4 years since 2016. My name is Mike Minarski from SNSN Radio, and with me today is Jack Malone from SCAD. We're going to be co-hosting this event. We're going to bring you a whole bunch of different speakers and get you just a bunch of information to give you an idea what Matt's Mission's all about and what other organizations do as well, all for the same goal. So, Jack, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm well, Mike. Good to see you. Good to be back here with you in Griswold.
Then Jack is also with an organization called SCAD. So, Jack, you've been involved with other Matt's Mission events. Can you give us an idea what SCAD is all about?
Sure, be glad to. This is the Southeastern Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence. We've been in operation in New London County for 54 years, run a complete level of care for those people who suffer from the disease of addiction, starting with a detox, community-based detox. We have a 20-bed detox and all the levels of care along the way. The program that we think the greatest of is our long-term residential program for men that is populated by 110 men most of the time. Get those gentlemen the treatment that they need and deserve and get them reintegrated back into the community. It has been my passion for 25 years, and I have 30 days to go before I retire from it. So it'll be a big change. That has not diminished my feeling about people who suffer from the disease of addiction, how they're treated in our community, what they get. And that brought me to Matt's Mission. I've been on the board of Matt's Mission since the start in 2016 because it always touched me the manner in which those who founded the organization set aside, their own heartache to make sure people understood that the children that they lost were good individuals who just happened to suffer from a disease that unfortunately didn't end well. I'm always impressed with Matt's Mission, and that brought me to them. And we've done some wonderful programs. We always did it outside in the park up the street, but we're inside here today during this time, a very difficult time, the COVID time. but it does not diminish the need for us to be talking to all those people out there who might need a little help, might need a little encouragement, someone who might look differently at someone who suffers. So we're here today doing it indoors, but I'm enthused about what it is, as you said, and I'm happy to be here once again.
So Jack pretty much said it, the way somebody looks at somebody that may have an opioid addiction, and it's Matt's mission's mission to end the stigma of drug addiction. Now, Jack, you had your own you had your own road to follow as well, and why don't you tell us about your sobriety?
Absolutely, because sobriety is what keeps me here today. I'll tell you what I tell everybody I talk to, that I've been sober since 6:15 this morning, and it is a daily proposition for me. The beauty is that I've been waking up sober for over 27 years, and it's afforded me just a life beyond my wildest dreams. Part of that is helping other people who suffer from the disease of addiction, but it is imperative that I share what I have. You know, I've never really enjoyed the anonymity of the program that I've in because of the positions I held and the way I feel about my recovery, because I feel very basically like this. If Jack Malone can get sober and live the life that he's lived, I think anybody can do it. From my starting point, to live the life that I live and have been afforded, which hasn't been perfect, but it's been special, is the miracle that they promised me.
And then I think what you'll find is in this event that we're doing live, we're just not going to have the big gazebos and all this stuff. And Jack's got his sexy legs hanging out there for us. Just if the cameraman can get a good idea of Jack's legs here. So, but we're comfortable. I've got my Matt's Mission T-shirt on, and we just want to be able to have some fun, but also bring you some good information while we do it. So why don't we start off right now and bring our first speaker out. I hope you enjoy her. She's also been part of her organization since it started off as Putnam Pride. They have now made their own coalition, federally funded here in Griswold, as Griswold Pride. So everybody welcome Miranda Mahoney.
Hi, I'm Miranda Mahoney, and I work for CHR, Community Health Resources, and I'm the project coordinator for the Griswold Pride Coalition. If you haven't heard of us, PRIDE is an acronym, and it stands for the Partnership to Reduce the Influence of Drugs for Everyone. We formed back in 2015 in response to the opioid crisis, and since then, we've come a long way. This community has embraced us, and we formed a really great partnership with Matt's Mission and SNSN Radio to help spread our mission in the community. We're a community coalition, and we are created to work collaboratively to reduce and prevent underage drinking and substance use and the impact that they have on our community. We collect data, utilize that data to identify evidence-based strategies to prevent underage drinking and substance use. By working together, we bring all sorts of resources. We bring passion, we bring knowledge, and we work together as a team to carry out our mission. Everybody knows someone, loves someone, is someone, or lost someone to the disease of addiction. And I hope you today get something out of this and share what that is with the people around you. We thought it would be fitting to highlight our Red Ribbon Week video that we made last year in partnership with Platinum Gear Productions, bringing this to you today. And it really highlights the community collaboration, the spirit and the energy that we had for the month of October in celebrating a drug-free lifestyle. We brought businesses together, we brought the schools together, we brought the students and parents together, and we all worked to create awareness of the celebration of drug-free living. So enjoy. I hope you liked it as much as we had fun filming it. Thank you.
What he said, be drug free. Hey, hey, what he said, be drug free. Hey, hey, what he said, be drug free. Hey, hey, what he said, be drug free.
Red Ribbon Week is the oldest drug prevention campaign in the United States. It started in the early 80s. So this is kind of just a celebration of drug-free living and not just a don't do drug message. This year, we decided to bring Red Ribbon Week into the community, make it bigger and better than it's ever been. We have banners on Main Street and we have yard signs. We have decorated doors at the town hall. We have events at the library. It's just a really good community-wide celebration of drug-free living.
I'm Kristen Butramovic, and I'm the health teacher here at Griswold Middle School. Starting at the beginning of the week, we had Spirit Week, put a cap on drugs, so it was Crazy Hat Day, and Tuesday was Superhero Day, Real Heroes Don't Use Drugs, and then we had Fashion Disaster Day on Wednesday, Drugs Are a Disaster, and today was Throwback Thursday, Drugs Are Old School. We decorate doors, and we talk about it in health class and out in the community. It's a big deal to let the kids hear the message about how important it is to stay drug-free.
I'm Isabella. I go to Griswold Middle School.
The rally is my favorite part.
The band plays. Certain 8th graders sing. There's cheerleaders.
It's the arts, it's the music, it's drama, it's kids speaking.
It's a positive message of let's celebrate the healthy lifestyles that we're all living now and stay drug-free.
Send a message, stay drug-free.
Send a message, stay drug-free.
Send a message.
Thank you very much, Miranda. Great information as always, right, Jack?
Absolutely love to hear that message from Miranda.
She's been involved with so many different types of drug prevention events here in the town of Griswold, and they fit together perfectly with Matt's mission. So I'm sure, just like you, I'm glad that they decided to take part in this event
We're
today.
keenly aware of that and appreciative.
So we're going to move on now. We have another speaker coming up, a guy by the name of John Lally. And you're familiar with John, are you not?
I am familiar with John. I'm familiar with his message, and I'm familiar with his work, which is a touching portrayal that he has put together and travels with.
Why don't you give us an idea what he does?
Well, the reality is that he is, he's had loss. One of the things that he has done to assuage some of his grief is he has put together a collection. He's a photographer and has put together a collection of just a touching collection of far too many pictures of young people who've lost their lives to addiction. Mm-hmm. And, he's been with us and we've walked around. There's 50 or 75 pictures of these young men and women who are, members of our families, our cousins, and our neighbors or our friends who tragically lost their lives. And the poignancy of the message is, you see, they're people we know that have lost their lives because they didn't get help and the addiction was deadly to them. John's prepared and kept a lasting memory for many of these young people for us to see and to remember. To remember them and to remember that addiction hasn't any boundaries. Doesn't matter where you come from, what station in life, who you are, it can happen.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up a very important point, whereas I can remember the very first time that Today I Matter was part of a Matt's Mission event, and I just took my iPhone and I just went right across the line and posted it and had thousands of views on that because people care. And I think the other thing is too is you don't really know the different people that this happens to. It's not your 18-year-old kid or your 23-year-old homeless guy. It's everybody. It's the 47-year-old executive
And
It's
it has
many people.
taken such talent and promise out of our world.
And you get to, and he catalogs all of these pictures at these events. So now let me introduce to you from Today I Matter, or Tim. If you get one of his pins, it says TIM. This is John Lally. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is John Lally. I am the Executive Director of Today I Matter Incorporated. We are a nonprofit organization established in Arlington, Connecticut back in 2016 after the death of my 29-year-old son, Timothy, from a heroin overdose. Our mission is to work to reduce the shame and the stigma of addiction and mental illness, while also promoting the physical, emotional, and spiritual health of our community. We do this through advocacy, education, and offering support. The way we do that is mostly do a lot of public speaking. I do education about addiction and mental illness. We do scholarships. We provide resources at various events around the state where people can get help and support for addiction and mental illness. But we're most known for our traveling memorial poster project. Right now, we have nearly 400 2-by-3-foot posters that we've traveled around New England and even been as far away as Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Our aim with this project is twofold. We want to show the personal cost of addiction, to really personalize the horrible statistics of those numbers of people that we've lost to overdose in the United States. But in addition, we want to illustrate the fact that those suffering from overdoses represent all fractions of society without regard for age, race, sex, gender, or socioeconomic status. Indeed, this is happening to friends, families, and neighbors throughout the whole entire country. So we aim to promote awareness and compassion for those struggling with emotions and substance use issues. We can be contacted through our website, todayimatter.com, or todayimatter.org, and also on our Facebook page, Today I Matter. So please contact us if we can be any help for you, for support, for references, or to offer educational activities. Thank you very much. Bye.
My name is John Lally. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. I have a private practice. My older son, Timothy, died of a heroin overdose in January this year. Tim was, of course, he's my son, he was a great guy. He was well loved by our family. At the same time, he struggled with both depression and severe anxiety, and then his addiction worked its way into there as well. He died just a few days before his 30th birthday. Like many people that struggled with heroin, he first started on pills, prescription pills, opiates, OxyContin, Percocets, things like that. And of course, he did it for a while before we knew about it. I saw it with Tim that it changed him. Their sense of reasoning and judgment is totally skewed. You know, the quest to get high or to not get sick, it's just what became more important than love or family or jobs or home. It's just totally overwhelming. And then people say, you know, how could he do that to his family? He couldn't see it that way. To him, it was just trying to survive each day. How do I get through today? Drug use is happening, whether you like it or not, it's happening. Your kids are being exposed to drug use. No one's immune. Now, everybody's fooling themselves if they think it can't happen to them or can't happen to their family. We have to change that belief and make people shake them up and say no. I thought that too. How can we get a better success rate for people? What's it going to take? Well, we have to get better about the medication-assisted treatment, things like Suboxone and Vivitrol and Methadone. Not everyone's crazy about those ideas. A lot of people will say they work or they don't work. But there's no one thing that works for everybody. We have to have a dozen different tools for people, because every addict has a different story, has a different path to recovery. And so it's nice to have a bunch of tools so you figure out what's going to work for you. I venture to say probably most overdoses are accidental. So we're trying to promote the use of Narcan in everybody's home who uses opiates on a regular basis or knows someone. These days, to be prescribed Narcan, you don't even have to be a user of opiates. You just have to know someone, a family member, for instance. We want to have it around just in case. Let them know when they relapse, when they fall, you still love them. They're not any less in your eyes. And I think if we can help people feel better about themselves, that might be the biggest key to help them find a way to win their struggle.
All right, thank you very much, John Lally from Today I Matter. As you now notice, I have somebody else here sitting in the chair. Jack is taking a break real quick. And we have Kelly Barrett with us, who's the Vice President of Matt's Mission. Also, Joe Biden's running mate.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys had heard or not, but yeah.
Okay, so what's it like to be in politics?
Well,
Is it
I
great?
mean, it's been a rough election year, you know.
It
It's a
is
lot
tough.
going on, but we'll see. I feel hopeful. I feel hopeful.
Yeah. I'm going to run for dog catcher.
Oh. Oh, I endorse that right now.
Well, you won't when I tell you that I'm going to be doing everything full frontal naked.
Reverse. I take back my endorsement.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed what John had to say about Today I Matter. Very powerful stuff. And I'll tell you, if you ever go to any of these types of events, whether it's Grizzle Pride or, of course, Matt's Mission, and you get a chance to see the Today I Matter display, it will shake you. It will shake you to your core, because you'll just kind of go down that rabbit hole and see all of these people's faces, to give you an idea of how addiction has affected them and other people, and of course their families. With me now, I have Kelly Barrett. She is the Vice President of Matt's Mission. Jack Malone's going to take a break for a second. And Kelly's going to give us an idea on how you can donate to Matt's Mission, which is very, very important for them to continue the work that they do. They need your donations, and it's so very easy to donate. And it's needed. Kelly, could you tell us how you can donate to Matt's Mission?
Sure. So since the pandemic hit in March, things have kind of slowed down donation-wise. A lot of the support systems that people suffering from addiction have kind of dwindled a little bit, but the addiction part didn't take a break. So donations are more important than ever now. They're always important, but now especially so. So if you can, head on over to our website, mattsmission.net, or you can write a check out to us, made payable to Matt's Mission. And give us a call, and we'll work on getting it to us there. And we appreciate it very much.
Any particular way you like best? You'll even go pick it up.
Yeah, we'll even go pick it up.
Jack Malone
Yep.
said a couple minutes. We'll drive to your house and pick it up.
Absolutely. Yep. We will do whatever it takes to accommodate that. And the easiest way, of course, is on the mattsmission.net website. Quick and easy, but like I said, any other way, give us a call and we'll take care of that.
All right. Very, very good. Very important. That's why they do these events, to get you information from different organizations. Matt's Mission puts us all together for you. That's why your donations are so very much needed. So please donate if you can. All right, what do you say we get into our next speaker?
We're ready.
Okay, this is Nicole Reynolds that's coming up. She's from Reliance Health Incorporated. Reliance Health is a nonprofit organization on a mission to enhance health through mental awareness. We hope you enjoy Nicole Reynolds. Thank you very much, Nicole. We appreciate your information. Jack, you have some information, or you got something to do with Reliance Health.
I have some history with Reliance Health, and it's 25 years strong that I've sat on the board there. So it's always a pleasure to hear Nicole or somebody from Reliance Health talk about the mission. It's one that is so necessary. It's one of the important things in our community that we all work on. You know that there's mental wellness issues associated with addiction and vice versa. And some of the people we see have more than one need. Reliance Health has filled that need for 45 years. And it's one of the programs absolutely necessary, and one that I remain impressed with. So they're good to hear from.
Very good. Again, thank you to Reliance Health for being a part of the event here today. How do you think it's going so far? The virtual
great.
event, huh?
This is something. And our speaking notes have not blown away in the wind sometimes happens up at the park.
We turn the fan off. That's why.
Turn the fan off. Yeah. This is good. It's going well, and I'm pleased, and I'm particularly pleased to do it. We could have very easily said, no, we're not going to do this year. Takes a little work, takes a little courage, takes a little perseverance, but there's a message, and it's an important one. And Matt's mission is not going to, step back from its purpose of helping people. Making certain people understand the disease of addiction, and most importantly, make people know that even our loved ones and our neighbors and our cousins and our friends suffer from the disease of addiction. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It means they're sick and need to get well.
Speaking of which, our next speaker is going to tell you about his own path from addiction to recovery. Do you know how Matthew Hughes became part of the event?
No, I don't. Can you tell me?
I don't think it matters. I think it matters that Matthew is part of the event and that he's going to go ahead and tell us about his path.
That's the best way to characterize it. We thank him for coming and sharing.
Matthew,
Doesn't matter how we got here.
Right. Matthew, thank you for being a part of the event. We're looking forward to hearing your message. Right now, here's Matthew Hughes.
Matthew, alcoholic addict. It's kind of a weird experience. I've had to tell my story in person. I told my story online, but I never had to actually record myself and then, probably watch it after this and say how much I could have done better. My sobriety date is January 17th of 2019. I just got over about to be 20 months if I get there. I know I just got to knock it out today. So growing up, my family, I remember I grew up in Wallingford, Connecticut, both mother and father in the house, older brother, older sister. Both my parents worked at McDonald's growing up, and I always kind of just felt like isolated. I wasn't really emotionally connected to anybody. I didn't know how to express my emotions. I had some, difficulties expressing how I felt and connecting to others, and I acted out. I got into a lot of trouble through elementary years, got in a lot of trouble in middle school years, continued through high school, suspensions, fights. My big thing, I think, was my first addiction and acting out, getting attention, and it didn't matter if it was negative attention, I still enjoyed it. And I would just act out. I was an angry child. I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't get a lot of connection with my brother, not a lot of connection with my sister, not a lot of connection with my mother or father. And I acted out, and I would just go out and vandalizing with my friends all the time, breaking stuff, lighting things on fire, just like whatever to get a rush, this adrenaline junkie that you may want to call it. But it was like the way my disease first came into my life and had me acting out, getting me out of me. And then football did that for me too. I put a helmet on, I could be this character and act out and be this different person. And I had a normal high school, but I had close friends, but I would fit in with every group. I didn't feel like I was accepted by anybody, really. I felt different than everybody. I always felt not like, I just didn't fit in all the time. And I started smoking weed on a daily basis. When I got into high school, I started drinking. Quickly became almost to a daily basis, just making up days out of the week, Thirsty Thursday or Wacky Wednesdays, and just getting drunk. During the school week, I played football, I played basketball for years. And, the arrests started coming in high school, and which kind of knocked out my grade. My grades were terrible. College wasn't an option. I made up my mind I was going to go to tech school in New Britain for electrical. I was working at McDonald's myself. And that's what I was going to do. I met with the guidance counselor in high school, and they were asking me, like, are you looking at any colleges? And I kind of looked at them like, no, I'm going to go to tech school. I just got to get my diploma, and I did the bare minimum and just got through and didn't reach up to my potential. Like, a lot of people always told me I wasn't reaching up to my potential, and I made up my mind I was just going to go to tech school. Tech school was a different environment for me. I got exposed to some different things. I started selling coke. I was selling weed. And it snowballed quickly. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Next thing you know, I had a felony charge. Next thing you know, I was in jail. I was in jail for the first time at 19 years old for approximately 9 months. MYI in Bergen. I did the same thing. I gambled. I got high in jail. I just acted out in the same way. Wasn't trying to get well. Came home. My mother picked me up, and she brought me to parole that day. And my mother just wanted to see me and be connected with her son. And I think within like 6 or 7 hours of leaving prison, I got high again, and I went with my boys, told my mother, I got some things I need to take care of, and the only thing my mother wanted was just to see her son that day, and my disease had other plans for that, and that's the thing. I just created victims, man. Everybody I was around, my family, brother, sister, mother, father, friends, co-workers, the police, like whatever. I just created victims. I was just a menace. Like when I was using, it didn't matter. You came around me, I was gonna hurt you. I just needed to get what I needed to get, and it didn't matter who was in the way. When I came home, the whole OxyContin thing switched over to heroin. I started shooting heroin very quickly. Within a month or two, I was injected heroin in my neck, and I got really sick, really sick, and I started having trouble breathing. I had trouble using the bathroom, trouble keeping food down, and I didn't connect that I was shooting heroin in my neck. This might be a problem. Something might be wrong. That might be why I'm sick. And I kept using, thinking I was gonna get better. And then a day came, and I was in so much pain. It was a snowstorm in February 2009. I was crying. And my mother walked in the room, and I looked at my mom, and I said, "Mom, I think I'm dying." And I felt it, and I saw the fear in her face. And I went to a walk-in clinic in Meriden, and I was extremely ill. I was in septic shock. I went into a coma for 2 months. My right lung collapsed. I had blood clot in my neck from injecting heroin in my neck. I got infected. I was in septic shock. My liver shut down. My kidneys shut down. I was on 24-hour dialysis at one point, and I had osteolytis in my femur bone, and it ate away my femur, and I lost about 1 3/4 inches out of my left femur bone where it meets the pelvic joint. And I woke up out of that coma, and I was a scared little boy, and I still didn't know how to express myself. And I woke up on my drug of choice, basically, and I was in the hospital for 6 months. And it was the mentally, spiritually worst place I've ever been, and waking up every day, and I just wanted to die, and I couldn't express it to anybody that I just wanted to die. My family would come in, and I just used my sense of humor as a great way I would deflect all my real emotions, and I would just joke with them and be like, "Man, you're taking this so well," and then everybody would walk out of the room, and I didn't want to live anymore, and I didn't know how to express it. I had no way to express my emotions still, and I covered everything up. I got out of the hospital. I went from a wheelchair, to a walker, to crutches, to a crutch, and as soon as I was able to get out of that house, I didn't do anything to treat my disease, and I started using again quickly. Even after everything that happened in the hospital, I started using again. My disease doesn't care where it brings me, how sick I am, in jail, out of jail, in a coma, out of coma, in the hospital, not in the hospital, home, doing well, doing bad. It just doesn't matter. My disease doesn't care about that. If I'm paying it any mind, it's like amazing what I like. Some willingness towards my disease will do, which I later found out down the road. What's amazing, what a little bit of willingness towards my recovery, what it could do for me. And I started using. I left the house still on crutches, and next thing you know, I was locked up for a robbery bid, and the next 3.5 years of my life, I was incarcerated, and that was the first time I got exposed to a 12-step program when I was incarcerated. For a brief moment in time, I took a look at some of my stuff. I was exposed to the 12 steps. I did some work, found some freedom, and then, went back to the gambling, went back to the using when I was incarcerated, and I came home, and I needed to make up for lost time. I went to school full time. I was working full time. I was in a halfway house in New Haven, and then quickly within 3 or 4 months, I was using again. Even after this time, after the time in the hospital, I was still using. And then it just turned into a cycle of the next 8 years of getting incarcerated and then going to treatment, going to incarcerated treatment like Lebanon Pines, Grant Street, Trinity Glen, Carnes Weeks, Hotchkiss House, Warner House, Rushford, ADRC in Hartford, Stonington, like everywhere across the map. I just went to treatment and then came home, was on probation, tried to do good, and then would get incarcerated, then go to treatment, get incarcerated. For 10 years of my adult life, 8.5 was either incarcerated or in treatment center. And like, I never put the work in to get well, and I never wanted to get better. Like, I did want to get better, but I didn't want to do the work. And so I never got the result. And I always participated in other areas. Like, I would act out with gambling, I'd act out with money, I'd act out with women, and it always brought me back to my drug of choice every single time. 2018, Christmas Eve, I was clean for about 7-8 months. And I ended up picking up again. I had a family party to go to, and I picked up, and I went to that family party. I was late. A couple of my family members are in the rooms, and they didn't say nothing, but they knew. I knew that they knew that I knew that they knew. And I felt terrible, and it was like finally I hit this place, like just questioning, like, what am I doing? And I felt this emptiness inside, and it was worse than that feeling was worse than the being incarcerated for those years, and then going through that coma and like, I feel like that was my physical bottom, and then I had a mental bottom, but then I finally feel like I had this spiritual bottom, and my use continued for a couple more months, where I finally started like asking for help, and I told probation I had used, and I went to go check myself in the detox, and I did, and I had nowhere to go after that, and I went to my buddy's house. He let me stay at his couch for 3 days, and my friend who works at a treatment center called High Watch, had called me just checking in, just checking in to see how I was doing, just doing what good people do, just seeing how I was doing. And I joked around. I said, hey, you think you can get me in the High Watch? Because I never knew I could go to that place. Was like fancy and swanky to me, and I was used to just like all these, Husky D facilities and like that. I was just joking, and she replied, well, I was just waiting for you to ask. And I got accepted there on a charity bed and for 21 days. And it was the first time I had some people, I felt some love in my life, and I opened up, and I started doing some of the work. And I started doing some of the step work, and I started working with a therapist, and I've been on everything. I've been on Vivitrol, I've been on Suboxone, I've been on methadone, and I tried different drugs, and like nothing ever worked until I started doing some work that they suggested me doing. And I found a higher power while I was up there, and it was a huge part of my journey. And then I met a gentleman that worked up there, and he asked me if I'd stay there for a year, and I was like, absolutely. This is like the best my living situation's ever been. They had soft serve ice cream, they had cold brew, and they had prime rib on Saturday nights. I'm like, absolutely, I'll stay here. This is it. Like, I'm good here. And at that point in my life, since I was in a coma in 2009, this is 2019, I had a physical disability, I walked with a cane, and I walked with a cane for 10 years, and he asked me, he's like, any other treatment facilities you've ever been at? I asked if they can maybe look into, maybe do something about that. And I said no. He's like, you never met with a different doctor somewhere? I said no. Like, it was just, I had no self-worth to think that I could get better. I had no self-worth that like those things were options for me. I never asked because I just didn't think they were available to someone like me, and the things I did. And I just had no self-esteem or self-worth that just speak up and ask for help. And he asked me if I'd stay for a year. I said yes, and the next day I was just making sure you're willing, that you would stay here. We're gonna try to get your hip better. And it started my journey up there, and we found a surgeon, and I had found out I had Hep C, and in my mind, like, I project the worst, and like, this is when the other ball is gonna drop. Now I have Hep C. Like, there's no point of doing this. I should give up now. Like, this is what my mind's telling me. Even though there's this treatment out there, everyone's telling me it's gonna be okay. Like, just do the treatment, and you can get the surgery. But my disease thinking, it wants me out there and say, no, I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up, because I gave up every time. That's all I ever knew how to do, was just give up. The treatment took 3 months, and now I see like my higher power puts me in places and makes me change my perspective after I go through some things and fight through some things and get through some struggles. And those 3 months were like pivotal in my journey. And I took those 3 months, I got real grounded, did the work I needed to do. And I had a lot of trauma like related to hospital situations. I did some work on that stuff within those 3 months. And if I didn't have those 3 months while I was fighting Hep C, I don't know if I'd be prepared for what was coming next. And like to this point, like that 3 months when I was beating Hep C, like, that was like the most pivotal point in my journey. I feel like And at first I thought it was the worst situation. Now I look about it, it's probably like one of the best news I got was having Hep C and being able to take a break and really get grounded, prepare for what was coming next. I stayed there. I had the surgery. I got through the surgery. I'm able to walk now with no cane. I'm able to get around, still working on running. One of my dreams is to play basketball again. And I know that will happen in time if I continue not listening to my thinking and listening to what other people's suggestions are for me. One crazy thing is I got into beekeeping. And, 7 years ago, if a CEO came across and said, "Hey man, you're gonna live in a sober house, you're gonna manage a sober house, and you're gonna take care of 300,000 bees," I would think he's crazy. Like, that's not in the cards for me. And it's like this whole thing that they tell me, like a life beyond my wildest dreams. Like I could never dream that up. My self-centered dream has me in some casino somewhere, like rich. And like today, I'm finally content. Like I'm okay with life when I wake up in the morning. Like. I'm not worried about probation. I used to wake up and check if I had warrants out for my arrest every day when I woke up. And, today I have a level of just being okay with myself and like where I'm going. And I recently enrolled back into school. I'm going to school now for business and marketing and sales. And these are just all things that I didn't know were there for me. I for a long time, I just thought bouncing into the treatment centers and just, hoping I didn't die when I was out there was what my journey was going to be. And I was okay with that. I had no self-worth and I had no self-esteem. And some people took me in and they loved me in these rooms and they showed me a better way and they loved me until I could find a way to love myself. And they're still there for me today. And, life is good today and I don't want to change it. I just continuing this process and, being around, I work in the field now, which is another, I never thought I'd work. I resented every treatment center I went to, and I never went back to the same treatment center twice because I had this huge resentments against these places. And to work at one now and be, it's a crazy scenario that I never saw happening in my life. And it's only because I just gave up and I listened to whatever everyone else was telling me finally and started doing some of the work. And I started doing a lot of trauma work. And trauma work, I believe, is huge in my journey because I used to associate the word trauma with a lot of, big scenario or big type of things and not realize these little traumas that are traumas and make me act out in the relationships in my life in a certain way that I didn't know that's why I was acting. And that's then why I was isolating and holding all my emotions in and not feeling I was validated from anybody else. And that's why I wouldn't express my emotions to anyone else. And if I bottle everything in, I'm gonna make a mess of my thoughts. And so trauma work and the step work and therapy were a huge part of my story to get where I am today. And I do know I only have the 24 hours, and that's why I don't like the statistics. People go, 85% of these people are gonna not make it, and I wish they would stop saying all we have is today, man. And if anyone's out there and you made it through today, it's 100% success rate, and so if anyone's out there, continue to keep the fight up and reach out to people. People want to help. Don't be ashamed. I walked into, damn near 20 treatment centers and just never gave up. The one suggestion I took was just keep showing up. Don't quit before the miracle happens and just keep showing up and don't give up the fight because it does get better and people do want to help and there's genuine people out there that want to help. So thank you for asking me to share. I hope this came out somewhat decent. And thank you again.
Matthew, thank you very much for that inspiring message. Now, Jack, these are folks that we're talking about right now. Matthew Hughes, part of the recovery community, as you put it. Can you kind of define what the recovery community is?
Yeah, it's a great, big, positive portion of all of our communities. There's people in recovery in every community. We've had some speakers here from specific programs, but the good mix is you have people who are living the dream, living the example, and sharing their experience and strength and their hope in recovery, that a good life, substance-free, is out there. And for many, it's out there for the asking. Got to do some work to get it. Mm-hmm. But the recovery community, those people in our community who have enjoyed a period of time in recovery and lived a very good life because of it. The life that they promised, the life that they were promised.
That's a good way of putting it. We have another person now also that has a few words, also from the recovery community. As Jack so eloquently just put, Please welcome Jill.
Hi everyone, my name is Jill and I'm an alcoholic. I want to thank Anna for inviting me to speak tonight. I'm honored to be here and to tell my story. Not only am I an alcoholic in recovery, but I'm a family member of alcoholics and addicts, and I've lost people very dear to me to this disease. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later in my story. But as part of my program, I've been taught to go through a couple housekeeping items. I got sober April 7th, 2012. I have not had a drink or a drug since that day. I have a home group. I have a commitment in that home group. I have a sponsor. I sponsor women. And I work the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. So my story is really just going to tell you my experience, strength, and hope. And hopefully somebody might be able to take one thing that I say and, it could touch their lives or help them in some kind of way. So really my story starts like most people. I started drinking at a young age, just dabbling and having fun with friends. There wasn't a lot of harm going on, and I really had a lot of fun. And that kind of continued on through my high school years. I definitely partied and had a lot of fun, I'll say, but looking back, I can tell you that I put myself into a lot of jackpots and risky behaviors because of my drinking, and I just thought that was part of alcohol. Like, I didn't realize that people didn't do those behaviors or didn't wake up and not remember the entire day before or the entire weekend. I thought blackouts were just part of the gig. Like, I didn't realize that people didn't drink like me. And maybe that's because I hung out with people that did drink like me. And then also I've, had parents that were active alcoholics at that time. My older brothers were actively using, and my sister was using and drinking with me. So it really just seemed very normal to me. And I was that person that always would point the finger and say, well, look at them, I'm not as bad as them, and so I must be okay. And I never wanted to be an alcoholic, so I thought that I could outsmart it, that I would be different. I really believed that I could drink the way that I wanted to drink, but I would not become an alcoholic. I did pretty well in school. I played sports. I went off to college because I thought that if I went to college and get away from my family, that my problems would go away. Not realizing that I am my problem, and I took myself right with me. And yes, I did a little bit better in some senses when I went to college, but I definitely partied and put myself in risky situations and blackout drinker pretty much all the time. But I thought it was fun and I enjoyed it, and I just, like I said, it was pretty much everything to me. I mean, I really wanted to succeed in life and I was determined to have a career, but I really wanted to just drink and party the way that I did then for the rest of my life. Like, I couldn't imagine my life without alcohol. And I didn't know why people wouldn't drink alcohol. So, we talk about this disease as a progressive illness, and I didn't understand that for a long time until I came into AA. But now I understand, and I can look back and see that I have a progressive illness, and as I got older, my disease progressed. And there was that time when I just crossed that line, and there was no going back. When I was 24 years old, my brother, who was closest to me in age and closest to me in relationship, he passed away from IV use infection, and I had no idea how to grieve or to talk about the loss. All I knew was how to drink, and at that time, I was already addicted to pills. but I just crossed the line and there was no going back. I went to a dark place after that, and I stayed there for a long time, until I started hitting some bottoms and experiencing some consequences that just didn't feel right. I did for a long time lower my standards so that my bottoms were more acceptable to me. But until they finally got to a point where it just was, I don't know how much lower I could go. And, you know, there were moments where it was like, this isn't who I am. This isn't what I'm meant to do. What are you doing? And I had, thank God, I had people that loved me that said those things to me as well. So off to rehab I went, and, you know, I did try getting sober. I just didn't know much about the disease of alcoholism. I didn't understand the obsession that I was feeling, the compulsion to use, even though I had no reason to. I had a lot to lose and nothing to gain. I just still wanted to. So those were, you know, the things that we talk about in Alcoholics Anonymous, that I'm unmanageable and powerless over alcohol. And I didn't realize it at the time. And it took me a few more years to understand that and to accept that, and some lower bottoms before I was able to take step one and admit that I was powerless over alcohol and that my life was completely unmanageable. I was, at that time I had a young son. He was 3 years old. I was in an abusive relationship with an alcoholic and drug addict, which was nothing short of a nightmare. I really couldn't hold a job. I was fired from my jobs. My friends I didn't really have any. They didn't want to be around me anymore. I had a few family members that were still holding out hope for me. I'm not sure why, but they did, and thank God they did, because, you know, their love and support and encouragement is really kind of what helped me to change and to take some action in my life. So I did have some periods of sobriety before my sobriety date that I talked about earlier, and I went through almost 2 years in the program in the Norwich area by going to meetings and doing some fellowship, but I just really hadn't, I didn't go through the steps. I kind of got hung up on the God of my understanding. I just was kind of defiant towards that. So I was stuck, and there was no spiritual change in me. And, you know, when the other shoelace broke, I drank. And looking back, it's not really a surprise that I did. But it was pretty bad. And it was like everything that I had gotten back in my life in those 2 years, I lost in like a couple months. And even more, you know, I had a job back, I lost that. I had an apartment, I lost that. You know, I had my son, I lost him too. It was pretty bad. My relapse was, it was just a really dark time. And I had I guess what they say is like a belly full of booze and a head full of AA. So I was understanding everything I had heard, that, you know, once I picked up, I couldn't stop. Like, these were things I had heard, but I didn't really so much believe them. And then I was living it, and I would say to myself in the morning, I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to use today. And by 10 o'clock, I was at the package store, and by 11 o'clock, I was calling the dealer, and it was just all over again. And it was just like that cycle every single day. I got arrested. I got overdosed at my son's school. I had DCF in my life. I mean, everything that I did not want was happening. And I felt like I was watching my life watching somebody else's life through my eyes, but it was mine. It was so weird. So eventually I lost everything. There was no one more I could blame. There was no one else that I could say, well, it was their fault, or I'm not as bad as them, because it was all me. No one was around. I was the only one left. And it was really hard to deny that I was an alcoholic and needed help, and that I could not do this on my own. So after a really bad weekend, I went to see my counselor at SCAD, and I just said I needed help, and he helped me, and we started calling beds for inpatient rehab. And I called a girl I knew from AA, and she picked me up that night and brought me to a meeting. And when I walked into the ACA Monday night group, they didn't turn me away. They didn't say, "You're not welcome here. What is wrong with you? You know, you're the worst person in the world." They hugged me, they gave me a book, and they told me they were glad to see me and to keep coming. And I will never be able to repay how I felt in that moment, because I did feel like the worst person in the world. So anyway, so since that day I've been sober, and life is completely different. I have such wonderful people in my life today, and I'm just so grateful. The same people that helped me at that Monday ACA night group are people I still talk to today, and still help me when I attend that meeting, even though I don't live in the area anymore. I have been able to work all of the steps. I have had a spiritual experience as a result of working the 12 steps. And, you know, my life is pretty fantastic. I have my son back. I fought for custody for 2 years to get him back, but he's back, and now he's a teenager and driving me nuts. And sometimes I wish he'd go back to his grandparents, but that's a joke. I have another baby today. I've been married in sobriety. I have a job. I have the same job that I started when I got sober. They want me to come to work every day, believe it or not. You know, I think most of all, what's really great is that I've gotten to know myself. You know, I've been able to set boundaries with family that aren't doing well. I've been able to laugh and have fun without alcohol. And today I can't even imagine a life with alcohol, because I just know what it will do to me. I will lose everything that I have. I'm not that person that has been able to ever drink one drink. I never wanted one drink, so one drink is just nothing. It's just nothing for me. You know, and I know that I will never have a cure, which is why I still go to meetings regularly. I meet with my sponsor regularly. I meet with my sponsees regularly. I really work hard to keep my sobriety, because really it is the most important thing that I have. Because without it, everything else that I love, I wouldn't have. So, you know, I've been through some ups and downs in sobriety. I've lost my other brother, more or less to his addiction. My son's father died from a heroin overdose a few years ago. So all of my running buddies are not here anymore. And I thank God every day that I have the opportunity to get up and draw another sober breath. And what, you know, that's why I come out and do these commitments, and because it just, I know, I'm not sure which part of what I'm doing is keeping me sober, so I just keep doing the things that I was taught in the beginning. You know, go to meetings, don't drink, help another alcoholic, and clean house. I mean, it's a simple program, but you have to want it and you have to work for it. And I want it, and I work for it, and I'm just a very grateful alcoholic in recovery today. So that's really all I have, and I thank you for having me here tonight.
Matt's Mission has a number of sponsors that help out with their events. Let's check out one of them right now. So far, we have heard a lot of messages from people that are in the recovery community, sponsors, different organizations that have programs that are available to you and different resources that are available to you to help you on your journey to end the stigma of drug addiction. It doesn't start and it doesn't end without the help and the guidance of the people that are on the Matt's Mission board, as well as the other boards of the organizations that you've seen here today. There's one lady in particular that we're going to show you a video of where Kathy Duffy wanted to honor one of the ladies on the board by the name of Jane Panis. And she is the treasurer of Matt's Mission. And she's been with Matt's Mission, Jack, and from the start. And I know you have some nice words you'd like to say.
You can't say enough nice things about Jane. She's been with us from the start and brought her energy and her expertise to the board, and it has been an enormous help to us and an inspiration. And if she's receiving a tribute here, she's most deserving.
Very good. We hope you enjoy this. It's Kathy Duffy and Jane Panis. As we're just going to let you see. Enjoy it.
Today, I would like to recognize and honor one of our board members, Jane Panis. Jane generously gives her time organizing the most successful and outstanding basket raffles, which is a major undertaking. In addition to her regular board duties, she also serves as our treasurer, sits on various committees, and volunteers on Matt's Mission's phone line, connecting individuals to treatment. The board would like to express their gratitude for all you have done and continue to do for Matt's Mission. Your passion and commitment are inspiring. Jane, you make a tangible impact in all your efforts to make a difference in the lives of individuals and families battling the disease of addiction. Your dedication, compassion, and hard work are recognized and appreciated. Words cannot adequately express the gratitude that I and the board members of Matt's Mission have for you. We cannot thank you enough, and we love you.
Gosh!
Here you go,
Thank you
Jane.
very much.
Congratulations. And
Wow!
and your favorite flowers, daisies. I'll get
Oh
a little
my
stock
gosh! You're beautiful!
Congratulations, Jane. We love you.
Thank you so much. I'm shocked.
Don't be shocked. You
Well,
deserve it.
I don't think I work any harder than most people. I believe in your cause, and I believe we all need this. We all need help in some form or another. Some people don't have any means, so we have to help them.
Right.
And I'm glad to do what I do. I hope I can keep going.
You can. You will.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Wow.
Matt's Mission celebrates recovery, has many sponsors, and here's one we'd like to tell you about right now. Welcome back to Matt's Mission Celebrates Recovery. It's a virtual event. We're not outside. We wish we were, but unfortunately, COVID-19 has had other ideas for us and just about everybody else in the world. I'm here with Mike. Well, I should tell you who I am. I'm Mike Minarski from SNSN Radio, and this is Jack Malone from SCAD, which we'll talk about SCAD in a little bit. We're bringing it to you live. Hold on. We're bringing it to you live here on the 12th of September, and it's so nice to hear all of these encouraging speeches and just words of wisdom from these organizations.
Absolutely, Mike. It's so important, as we've said before, that the world has changed around us has not changed the reality of addiction in our communities and in our lives. Mm-hmm. And I'm, worry greatly that someone who is suffering from the disease of addiction might get missed out or might get lost in this period of time. And, you know, people with addiction sometimes, you know, they just don't seek the right things. We have to be out there looking to support them, letting them know that we can support them, letting them know there's experience, there's hope, and there's a life out there. It's critical, and I'm so pleased to be participating in this program today, have each year. That we moved inside, that's okay. The important thing is we keep the message going, that there's hope, that there's recovery, and as Matt's mission aspires to do, that we change the way we treat addiction. Mm-hmm. The way the face of addiction, we have to remember, is our brother, our sister, our cousin, our neighbor, our friend. It's all around.
It's anybody. You just don't ever know until you know. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, and you know, sometimes it's a big surprise.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a tragic surprise.
Yeah. And I think to me, one of the biggest wake-up calls with this disease is that you can pretty much say everybody knows somebody that's suffering from it.
Goodness. Oh, goodness. Absolutely, Mike. You're so true. Because it's so broad. The statistics are, and I'm not a statistician, but I know this from years of being in the business, one quarter of the population of the entire world suffers from the disease of addiction, be it for drinking, be it for drugs and alcohol, be it for any other things. And there's a variety of things that you can get addicted to, and they can be equally damaging. One of the things I was surprised to learn is work can be addicting.
Right.
Shopping can be addicting. Eating, gambling, anything that makes
Cigarettes.
you feel good. Anything that makes you feel good.
Food, sugar.
Can be addiction. We see the real heartache, and we pay attention purposely on drugs and alcohol addiction because that's the closest one that we see the most damage. But everybody knows somebody.
Yeah.
And that's a Matt's mission start, as I said before. Some very caring people put aside their tremendous heartache and started this program to make sure people understood these are our kids.
Yeah. We're going to break away to another speaker, and this is our keynote speaker this afternoon in our virtual event. Now, this is a guy that he's run the gamut. He's spent time in jail, has quite a bit of information. If you watch his Facebook videos, he talks about his experiences in jail. Making jail cake was a fun one that I watched him do. And the thing is he's just a nice guy. He's just we've had him on air with us, as we've had you as well, and Kathy and Kelly and people, other folks from Matt's Mission. But he came in one day and he's just this big, it's like 6'8", friendly dude.
Yeah, he's
you know,
a friendly dude with a message because he knows of what he speaks.
He's with an organization called Formerly Incorporated. He's a wonderful speaker. He'll make you think and he'll make you feel. Listen to him. It's Daryl McGraw, right here at Matt's Mission Celebrates Recovery.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl McGraw. I'm a person in long-term recovery, which means to me that I have not used a substance since May 7, 2007. It is an honor and a privilege to be here today speaking at the recovery event for Matt's Mission. Wow, what a privilege. What a gift. When I started to think about what I was going to talk about today, I had to think about gratitude. Gratitude was the first thing that came to mind. Because for me, man, I'm truly and honestly and grateful to be in recovery today. We celebrated 13 years. And wow, to me, that's still mind blowing because I remember when I couldn't get 13 minutes. My drug of choice was marijuana and crack cocaine. And all my decisions, when I was in active addiction, all my decisions were made through about drugs, what I was going to eat, where, if I was going to eat, how much gas I put in my car. All my decisions were made based around my drug use. So today, to be here with 13 years, sitting in my house, talking, even I'm talking on video and not in a room full of people sharing my story, is truly a blessing, truly a gift, because I really remember when I couldn't get 13 minutes, everything that I thought about. When I woke up, I thought about the drug. When I went to sleep, I thought about drugs. I thought about drugs nonstop. And drugs did me dirty, man. Drug use is a dirty game. And, I pray for those of you that are out there that are still in the struggle, but I'm here telling you right now that it is possible. It is possible for you to get your life back, and not only get your life back, but get to a place that's better than the life that you ever had. Right now, I'm living a life beyond my wildest dreams, and I wouldn't give this life up for anything. Does that mean that the days are good? Does that mean everything is easy? No, not at all. I mean, of course, I got bills to pay, and I hate being broke, and I didn't, but you know what? I would not trade, my worst day clean, which is a term that a lot of people like to get away from because, that would mean that you're dirty. But, for those of us in the recovery community, you know what I mean? Not with any substances in my body. I would give, for my worst day, would not use them versus my best day using. My best day using was a bad day. And I remember what it was like to use, to be out and even in the broad daylight and it still be dark. I remember what it was like to, just be constantly searching, calling, thinking. Man, it was, my story begins in prison. I spent 10 years of my life in and out of the Department of Corrections. And I usually say on the installment plan. On the installment plan, is like you go in for a few years and you come out and you go in. And, those of us that are familiar with that cycle, that's just constant starting over. You build up a bunch of stuff and you end up starting over. And I'm also, I learned a lot of things in prison about myself. And one of the things that I learned is that, number one, I'm a self-sabotager, right? So that means that I'm one of those people that get the job, get the car, get the girl, get all of those things. Work really hard to get them, but don't really work that hard to keep them, right? And it doesn't take us long, those of us that are out there that are self-sabotagers, it doesn't take us long to mess it up. We can work so hard to build this up and come up with a plan to get this stuff, but then it doesn't take us long to mess it up. And that was me. I also realized that, while I was going through my process of getting on this recovery journey and really trying to take hold of it, because I really was tired. I was tired. And you guys know what I'm talking about when I say you're tired. I was tired, man. Drugs did me dirty, man. I was beat up. I was done. If I could just get one day back to myself, man, just one day, man, that's what I was looking for. And so when I started to, really get into this recovery stuff and see what this life was about, and it was really about giving myself a chance, giving myself a chance. Everybody else, the judges in the courts, I'm asking for a chance. In relationships, I'm asking for a chance. But one person that I never asked for a chance was myself. I never said to myself, yo, give yourself a chance. And you know what? This time, I said, I'm going to give myself a chance. I don't want the courts to give me a chance. I don't need anybody else to give me a chance. I'm going to give me a chance. And, I took that and I ran with it. And today I recently just celebrated 13 years of recovery, and I'm truly, truly, honestly and grateful for the opportunities that I've had on this recovery journey. I feel like, and I always tell people that, right? Once you get into recovery, all these doors open. But I believe that these doors are already there. But because my focus was really on getting the drugs and using drugs, that I never saw those doors opening. So now that I'm on this journey, I see doors, man. The doors are like, bow, bow, bow. Which one do I go through? And there's so many opportunities that I can't even take them all. So I'm just excited to just be here, being able to share this with you, because I'm hoping that through me telling you this, which is, telling you about one of my worst days of my life, by me sharing that with you, hopefully I will maybe inspire somebody to give themselves a chance. So May 7, 2007 was the last time that I was also in the back of a police car. My recovery journey started really by getting arrested. And I got arrested, I got tased, I got choked, all because I wanted to get high one more time. And I remember sitting in my house thinking, I was kind of bored, and I was sitting in my house and I was thinking about this half a crack joint I had in my pocket. See, I was a marijuana and crack smoker, right? That was my drug of choice. That was me, man. That's what I love to do, right? I like to say, man, when I'm telling my story, I say I had an intimate relationship with marijuana and crack cocaine. And and I was fixated with it. I couldn't, the only thing that I was loyal to was the drug, man. I checked in with that drug every single day. I went and got money for it. I worked, I hustled, I lied, I stole, I did everything for that drug. So that was an intimate relationship. I never treated a human being. I never was as dedicated to a human being as I was to my drug of choice, right? And that was crack. I'm not sure if I told y'all, but it was crack cocaine and marijuana. And today I can say that many times before, when I've been in prison, I was in drug programs, I'll say, oh, no, I just did cocaine, or I just smoked weed. But it wasn't until I got real with myself and that I was able to say that, yeah, I was addicted to crack cocaine. That's when the miracle happened. That's when things started to happen, because I started to be honest with myself. Like, listen, bro, you lying to you. You could be in these meetings, you could dress yourself up, you could look nice, you could throw some jewelry on, but until you clean up that inside, the outside is just going to still be messed up, right? It's not going to work. It doesn't work like that. So I had to get real with myself. And once I started doing that, that's when the change really started to happen. I wanted to say, make sure that I mentioned that, like I said, my recovery journey started when I was in the Department of Corrections. I remember West Wing 25 cell. I was sitting in my cell. It was a single cell. It was a hot day. And here I am in prison again, facing some serious time. And this dude knocked on my cell. And he said, man, I got a book for you to read. And I said, man, if I was reading books, I wouldn't be in jail. And he said, no, I want you to read this book. And I was like, whatever. So he came back, and I don't remember the guy. I don't remember his name. I don't remember what he looks like. He slipped a book under my door, and it was The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. And I had heard of this book before, but I really wasn't sure what it was about. So, I opened it up. I had nothing else going on, so I started to read it. And the book was a 40-day spiritual journey. 40-day spiritual journey, right? Now, peep this. Now, my court date was 41 days away. And I was like, oh, man, oh, God, you want me to read this book so I can get out of jail and go home? See, because I thought God was a bondsman, so I thought this book was sent to me, like, spiritually. 40, how could it be, right? Court date is 41 days away. I have to read this book in 40 days, which means you read a chapter a day and in 40 days. So I read it, man. I was a good student. I was reading this book and I was writing pages. But in the beginning, I just was, going through the motions because I just really wanted to get out, right? And I thought God was watching me. So I'm writing like a couple of lines here and there. But by day 26, my friends, I was writing chapters and paragraphs, and I really started to get into it, and I started to work on myself, and I started to like really what I call peel the onion back, and I started to say, man, you know what, man, this might really could work. And I started to really like think about what I wanted to be, and I started to realize that I needed to change some things, and one of the number one things that I needed to change was character. And when you change your character, certain things no longer become acceptable. And for me, once I started to work on changing my character, smoking crack was no more acceptable. Car chases with the police, getting arrested was no longer acceptable. In and out of my kid's life, no longer acceptable, because that wasn't part of the character that I was trying to achieve. So through that, I started writing and learning and reading and, just writing my like plan, right? So when day 40 came, I never forget, I closed the book. I was done with the book. I had court the next day and I was in my cell and I said, God, hey, you know what, God, man, I really I want to go home. But if it's not your will, I'm cool with that because now I have purpose. And in that cell, West Wing 25 cell, I have found purpose. And that purpose was to take my life, my story of drug addiction, crime, and utilize it as a tool to help other people. And that's what I've been doing since May 7, 2007, when I got on this path and this journey. It was a rough ride to get here. But today, man, every day I put my feet on the floor when I wake up. I really want God to use me as a tool to help people try to get back, find their way back or find their path to recovery. Because I'm living proof that you do not have to live like that. You do not have to, your life doesn't have to revolve around drug use. Your life doesn't have to revolve around crime and getting over and scamming people and not being a part of your family's life because of the guilt and shame that you have based off of your drug use. I know what that's like, and I know that it's not an easy life, and that's why I'm so glad that I'm affiliated. I'm actually a board member now of Matt's Mission. People ask me to be on their board. I mean, like, wow. I remember I used to have to stand outside people's door, and they would be like, yo, hold on, wait right here. I'll be right back. Versus people invite you into their house, not only invite you into their house, but invite you into their companies and want you and value your opinion. So that's some of the work that I've done, that I've shown that I show up for things. Because, when I was in active addiction, I really didn't show up for too much. I showed up to get my check, and sometimes it would be the last check, so I could go and cop. And I made sure, I was always on time to the drug dealer. I was always on time to the drug dealer. I was always on time to cop. I was a funny type of addict because I was one of those people that always tried to pay his debt because I didn't want them to look at me like I was strung out. So if I got credit from the guy, I went and be like, oh, here's your money back. Like, I thought that made me different. I thought that put me in a different place. Just made me, I'm paying this guy for credit for poison that he's selling me that's ruining my life, but I'm also paying him that plus buying more poison to ruin my life. So, the insanity of drug use, man, the path and some of our thinking, irrational thinking and thought processes, really have me messed up. And if you're one of those people, if you were in the same place that I was, I encourage you to reach out to me and my friends at Matt's Mission, and let's see if we can help you. If we can help you find your path, find your journey, find your purpose. Because once I can tell you, I can promise you, everybody should find purpose. Everybody should have the opportunity to, this is my Matt's Mission cup. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is my Matt's Mission cup. If you come down with us, man, you can get a Matt's Mission mug. So yeah, I was saying about finding purpose, and I wish that everybody could find purpose, man. Once I found out that my purpose was to just constantly give back, also found out through this process that, when you're in active addiction, everything is about you. It's all about you getting yours. Or I used to say, like, get mine off the top. But then once you find out about, once you find yourself and you find purpose, you find out that, life really has very little to do with you and about you being of service to others. And that's what I found out. Like, it had nothing to do with me, right? Really, it's really about me and how I use my life to service others. And, man, that was such an eye-opening thing because I always used to be, it's all about me. I got to get mine. Now it's like, how can I help? How can I be of service? How can I do this? How can I do that? Man, and it's truly a gift. Is life going to be easy? Absolutely not. Do I some days have bad days? Yes. But it's how I respond to the bad days today versus the bad days of in the past. Some people say, man, being in this recovery life is like for suckers, or it's like you're soft if you get into recovery. But I'm here to tell you today that one of the hardest things that I ever did was get into recovery. Because if someone dies, I don't get the opportunity to go have a drink or smoke some weed to take the edge off. We face that head up. We break up with somebody, we don't get an opportunity to go drink our sorrows away or smoke or do cocaine. We don't have the luxury of that. When we have a problem, we face it head up and we deal with it, and we go through those emotions, whatever, to be cry, be mad, or whatever. But we don't have the opportunity to reach outside of ourselves. We don't take the opportunity to reach outside of ourselves to get something to make ourselves feel good. We process, we go through that process, and then we just keep moving on. And that's some thugged out stuff, man. And I'm glad that I've learned that process. I'm glad that I've been a part of that process, and I'm also glad that I've had the opportunity to teach other people to learn the process. A lot of people want the success, but they don't want to go through the process, and that's just what it is. So I know I've been talking for a minute, and they only give me a little bit of time, and this has been an honor and truly a privilege to be here with you for a little while and celebrate Recovery Month. And there's so many people out there struggling, with the COVID epidemic happening. We're watching overdoses increase by 20%, in the state of Connecticut. Then we have race relationships and all kinds of stuff going on in this country. So it's a hard time for everybody. But that's why we believe in, with this recovery being part of a community, because we all need each other. We hope that the recovery community should be setting the precedence for the rest of the world, because we all kind of lean on each other. And so when someone said to me, hey, we want you to speak at Matt's Mission's recovery event, I was like, no, there wasn't even a second doubt or second thought. I was like, of course, because what we believe is, we believe in the ripple effect. And the ripple effect is I like throwing a little pebble into the water, but it ripples out. So by me talking today, maybe I inspire somebody to stay the path. We hear a lot of sayings like, wait till the miracle happens. I just believe in stick and stay, man, and grab hold. If you can't grab hold of somebody, for me, man, I'm at the stage now that I'm reaching back and trying to pull people out. Like, come on, man, you can do this. You can do this. We do this together. And, iron sharpens iron. So I encourage you to stick and stay. If you're struggling, let us know. Reach out. My name's Daryl McGraw. I'm a member of Matt's Mission's board. I run Formerly Inc. My office is in New London, Connecticut, in the OIC building, 106 Truman Street. If you need some help, come on through. You're a person in just getting out of prison, let's link up. Let's do some stuff. I'll show you what I did, and hopefully inspire you to stick to this path and stick to this journey. And some rough days, but man, the rough days are not. The good days outweigh the rough. So and I'm telling you, it's one of the best things that I ever did in my life was choose the recovery journey, to be on a recovery journey. And I'm grateful that I was able to make it work. With that being said, thank you. See y'all soon. Man, recovery. We do recover. We do recover, man. Matt's Mission. There you go. There you go. See y'all soon, man.
Thank you very much, Daryl, from Formerly Incorporated. Great message. Great messages, as always, from Daryl.
As always, Daryl has a message, and it's poignant, and it's truthful, and it comes from the heart. Daryl is just a fine example of an individual in the community who is willing to share his story so that it might help somebody else. And, he's a generous guy. He's on the Matt's Mission board and a big help there. So, and we're very, very fortunate to have him. But people in early recovery, people hoping, they could learn a lot from Daryl. He's a powerful message.
I like the guy personally. I think he's a riot, but he's smart. He's got master's degrees he has earned through all this, through his trek through life.
Yeah, absolutely, and it goes to the story, and we talked about it before. Addiction lands where it lands. It doesn't land on poor people exclusively, or those not educated, those who don't work, those who don't pray. It lands where it lands. How we deal with it and how we treat those people in our community is what we're all about. It's everywhere.
I can tell you he's the real deal. I mean, I had a situation, well, not a situation, but I invited him up to the radio station one morning. He was going to come up, and we were just kind of ham it out on the air a little bit. And he called me about half hour before. He said, Mike can't come up. There's somebody getting out, and I have to assist. Boom. It just like he dropped everything and said, this is what I need to do. So I've met so many great people and kind people and generous people just being around Matt's Mission, Grizzled Pride, SCAD, just in learning. And I've told one of our speakers from earlier, Miranda Mahoney, probably 7 Ways to Sunday, that I have learned so many things, and my perception has changed literally 180 degrees on what I thought somebody was or who they were if they were addicted to someone or something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, and there are a lot of people that have that thought. I don't anymore, and it's because of the education that I've been able to get from Matt's Mission, Grizzled Pride, SCAD. You can go right on down the line, and big part of that, of course, the whole reason is Kathy Duffy.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have her. It's her energy and her caring that started this organization, and she knows, and I know, and I feel for her. She put aside some of her heartache to do this work, and it's commendable. And we just think she's terrific. She's done a great job.
I think you need to come here, Kathy. She's off camera. Come here, Kathy. Come here. Come here. Come here, you. I want to give you a big hug. Oh, it's all right. That's right. It's a virtual hug for everything you did.
Virtual hug.
Virtual hug, Jack.
Thank you, Kathy.
She's the reason right here that everybody is here, and that's Kathy Duffy. I can't even imagine. What she went through to get here today, or her daughter Kelly, or maybe even you. Drew?
True. Very true.
Jack, thank you so much for being a part of this with me today.
My pleasure. I'm so happy to do this. Thrilled that you would take the time to put it together. I can stand up in front of any crowd and talk, but getting in front of a microphone, which is no problem for me to talk, I wouldn't know what to do. And so we're very happy that you would be willing to show us the way, show your expertise, hold our hand through this, because the message is so important, and we don't want to pass up on it and say, not this year because of circumstances. We're very grateful for you to be willing to help out.
Well, I also got to thank the guy behind the camera over there, Chris Goodenough from Platinum Gear Productions, because there's his hand. He's actually given me a lot of guidance as far as, like, even today, it's like, well, we're going to be in front of a white screen. Why wear a white shirt? I'm going to look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, on the camera. So it's probably not going to be a good thing to do that.
Yeah. Chris has helped us out here today pretty well. We thank you for that.
So if you haven't noticed, the logo behind us, it's been there all day. The website that you can donate, tell them, Jack.
mattsmission.net. And if you're inclined to send a check, it's Matt's Mission, 70 Main Street, Jewett City, 06351.
That's right. It's very important that you do go ahead and continue to donate. You are their lifeline. when it comes to getting any kind of financial support. It's the donations that you give that help them continue this work. So look at the logo. The website's right up there as well. And please give to Matt's mission. And I really hope, and I'm sure you feel the same way, that you got at least one piece of information that is worth it to you, that'll help you either on your own road or somebody else's road.
It's very important that someone know how to provide for someone, to get someone into treatment. You know, sometimes in families it's a big mystery as to how this child got addicted, how my husband ended up this way, how my aunt ended up this way, and don't know what to do. There's people to call. Matt's Mission is one of those places to call.
Give them a call. They'll be there for you. Jack, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Mike. Thank you for helping out and having me here today, and we hope next year we'll be outside, but you'll be there alongside us.
I'll definitely be there. Matt's Mission celebrates recovery. We hope you enjoyed the virtual event here today, here on September 12th. And what do you got? Kat, you got something else to say?
Yes, I would just like to thank our sponsors, Grizzle Pride and SCAD.
Oh.
And also SNSN Radio and Chris from Platinum
Gear Productions.
Thank you very much. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you.
Well, bottom line is we couldn't have done it without you. So really it kind of works together. So thank you very much for joining us today. This is going to remain online all over the place. So it's always going to be available for you to watch, to relive the messages that people are giving you today. And Jesus, just hope it helps you. Thank you once again for joining us here at Matt's Mission virtual event. We're celebrating recovery. It's a great day. And we will see you at another event, hopefully outside.
Terrific. See you then.
Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Never thought that this could happen. There's a knock on the door, I recall in the night. From the time you were young, you were Maddie B. But now my friends are looking out for me. Still not here. We can't believe that it's been so many years. We can only wish that you found your peace and know your mother's love will never cease. This is the story of Matt's mission to redirect your anger and your and always know you're never alone, never alone, never alone. The challenge you face, well, it needs to be heard. So many souls have fallen to this scourge. What we need is to educate and give the tools to know what it takes. Now it's time to end this misconception of the stigma of this dark addiction. The kindness shown to a broken soul can ease the burden of this heavy toll. A simple thing like a gentle act can help someone get back on track. once again.